Good morning. We are going to try a little fall landscape with a lovely tree and some gold grasses. There's a big example of it here. I don't know if that looks ginormous. Um, but you'll have the example tomorrow when you're painting to look at too, and that's going to be what I'm looking at. We have our palette, which I've already started painting, so mine's already a little messy. But we'll have the colors we need to make a pretty sky and some warm colors for fall. And we've got our two brushes, big flat and a small flat, our water cup, our paper towel, and we're going to start with a blank canvas. There won't be anything drawn on this one, so we'll just kind of map out where we want things. I think the first thing we'll do is decide, do I want it landscape or portrait? Let's go landscape. Let's go landscape. Okay, we're gonna change it up a little bit. And for my sky, I want a mix of blue and white, and maybe I want it to be a little bit, have a little bit of a turquoisey tint. So let's pick up a little bit of that green and mix in there. And I'm not going to spend, oh, that's a lovely sky. I think the skies in fall are the most intense as far as color. So I'm just kind of playing with putting this down to get started. And I will say that my tree line is going to be right in here somewhere. So we'll paint over our sky with our tree line. So that'll kind of give me a general idea of where those trees can go. And I'll try to add more white at the horizon because the sky does get lighter typically on a clear day at the horizon. Look at this sky. Let's see what we can figure out here. I'm not over mixing the paint so that the blue and white can move around and blend on the canvas. Maybe that'll help suggest some little wispy clouds. So I keep dipping into the white and just using the blue that's on my brush, which there's quite a bit. Getting a little bit of a diagonal stroke here, which helps suggest some movement in the sky. So just by letting it blend on the canvas, I've got this kind of a nice light area here, which might be some clouds, and then I'll drag a little extra white over here. And it wants to blend in with the blue because it's wet, but if I add enough, I'll start to see some lightning in that area. So that's just a real simple sky. You know, that's an easy technique. We won't necessarily paint individual clouds. We may come back and play. We'll see. But for now, that's not a bad sky. So then we want this suggestion of a tree line for some, oh, what are they called? The cedar trees. They look like cedar trees. This looks like it could be Oklahoma. And to make this dark green, I want to mix this green plus red. And they are complements on the color wheel, so they kind of cancel each other out. And they'll go either black or brown or gray. So we're getting this really dark color. It's leaning a little more towards the red, so I'll drag a little more of the green into it. But I want it to look almost black, so that's a pretty good place to be right there. Now the only problem is that I've got this wet skyline, but I want to just kind of come in here and just suggest the tops of some trees. Nothing too defined. And it is mixing with the wet sky color, so it's lightening it quite a bit. So then our grasses kind of come in like this, I think. That'll be a line to suggest where our trees end and our grasses start. And then we'll have our tree coming up right here. So if I can take my big brush and fill in with that really dark green. I want a little yellow ochre in it too. It feels like it needs to be warmed a little bit. I'm just going to drag that up there, and it's too light because of the wet sky. So I'll come in here. We'll darken it up though. We'll get it there. All right. So there's a little quick suggestion of trees on the horizon. We'll kind of soften that up a little bit. It's looking a little more like mountains right now. We'll get there though. All right, so I'm going to rinse out my brush. And I want a really dark color for the gold grasses in the field. So brown would, dirt color under grass would make sense. And to get to brown, I could use blue and orange. I could use red and green. I think I'll use the blue and orange. They make a nice brown. Yeah. There we go. That's a good color. And I'm seeing some other colors, kind of a little green, a little blue. But that is okay because our field really, it doesn't hurt it to be more than one color. We'll just kind of blend those two together where they meet up. And our trees will get darker. I'm just going to keep saying that, convincing myself. Okay, so really letting that dry would be handy dandy. So I think instead of watching paint dry, I will stop the video and hit it with a blow dryer and be right back.